Good evenings, Cape Flight Stories. Goeienaand in die Kaapse vlakte mense. And I can't actually say any more Cape Flight Stories. There's people from overseas that's following us. There's people from other provinces as well. So I have to say welcome to everybody that is online and that's tuning in. And those that will still be listening to the conversation later on or tomorrow. So if it's load shedding, gooi was uit. But nevertheless, we are here to talk to a very important man. A gentleman, the last time he was on our platform, he was a minister. He was a member of parliament. Now he's the Minister of Mobility. Nou, ek het vir die auntie gevraag gister, net om seker te maak ons die mense weet, wat is die Minister van Mobility? Dus sê die auntie van my, is dit iemand wat week sy my cellphone sê? So I had to tell the auntie, no auntie, but what's this so fun? So with me in the studio, I have Minister Ricardo Mackenzie. Sir, welcome to Cape Flight Stories once again.
Good evening, Uncle Stan, as I say, Stanley Jacob. And thank you for having me this evening to come and talk mobility, taxis, trains, buses, bicycles, pedestrians, and everything that moves.
Alles met wiele.
Alles met wiele.
Minister, just a bit on yourself, you know, I also like to know about the politician.
Yeah.
Wie is die politician? Wie is die man achter die politician? Wie is Ricardo? Van waar is Ricardo?
Wie
just
is
to give
Ricardo?
them people a bit of idea of who we're speaking to tonight.
We're speaking to Ricardo Mackenzie, the Provincial Minister of Mobility, used to be Transport, sworn in on the 20th of February, and the new department of the Mobility Department started on the 1st of April this year. No April Fool's joke. Father of two girls.
Awesome.
Stay on the other side of the railway line. He used to stay on this side of the railway line.
Yeah.
And I've been a member of Parliament Provincial Parliament since 2014.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of working in the private sector and in government. I was a private secretary in the presidency,
Awesome.
Presidency of former President Thabo Mbeki, the executive assistant to Essop Pahad. I worked for Dial a Bet, so I know a lot about bets. Niemand kan my vertel van bets nie. And yeah, my mother's still alive. She retired. And I'm really privileged to be in the position that I am. I have a dog. My dog's name is Gucci.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to take my dog to the beach, like most of us, I guess. Yeah.
I've actually seen you a lot of pictures and videos. I think Sundays is the special day where you guys go and hike. I think it says a lot about you. I believe people that love animals, that there's a different side to them. Not a different side, but, you know, it just shows the humanity. But nevertheless, the question that I want to ask you, you know, a lot of things has happened during COVID.
Yeah.
Our railway system, our train system has been messed up. It has been vandalized. If you go anywhere in this country, even some cities, some places, in Cape Town as well, the people actually vandalizes the places and the stations and so on. What is your take on this? Can we fix what is broken?
We can fix what is broken, but it's up to us. It's up to all of us. Personal responsibility. I mean, we come from these neighborhoods. We know the people that are breaking this stuff down. The trains were actually broken before COVID. COVID just exacerbated,
That's right.
that problem because no one was around to look after the stuff. It was a hard lockdown, as you know, but the problem started way before COVID. It started with us, and I'm not talking about government per se. I'm talking about all of us as communities. We see these things happening. I remember one day we were in a sub-council meeting at Lentegeur in Mitchells Plain, and we were talking about how to fix some of our sports fields. And as I was sitting there, I got pictures of what was happening in Woodlands, of people breaking down the fence. Right? And I remember asking the person, but jy sien die mense doen dit my sê niksie. Same thing at Swartklip Sports Field. The people literally broke the fence down while children were playing sports on the field. So we see these things happening in our communities. We must speak out about it. We know where these yards are. I know it's not easy. Sometimes people are scared to report these things. But we can't build a new fence every month.
That's right.
That money should go towards school. It can go towards more of our LEAP officers in our communities. But there's not a government in the world that can build a new school fence every 6 months because somebody broke down the fence. So the trains are still not running. Obviously, we are working on it, and we can talk about it more later in the show. But the big thing is, even if the trains are coming back, which they are, come back, the Nyanga to Langa line started.
Yeah.
We as community that stays opposite those lines, next to the lines, along the lines, further down. When we walk to the station, those are the things that we can take action as a community.
Right.
Report when something happens. That is how we can take care of our own, because it's our assets.
That's right.
We are the ones using it every single day.
That's right.
It's our mothers. I remember, I was still people, my mother used to take the first train from Lentegeur. So it wasn't somebody else's mother.
Yeah.
It was my mother that took the first train. So if we take care of our assets, our mothers, our sisters, our brothers can use that facility. It's not just government.
Yeah.
Because we are the government. We elect the government.
That's right.
So we have to work with the government to take care of our assets.
That's right. And what that brings me to, we all are stakeholders in this.
Yeah.
We need to remember when, I've seen it was in Lentegeur where people were a titi, and I'm sorry to say this, but I posted the video last year. They stole the brick paving, and they took the brick paving to their house and they paved it. But people made videos, and we actually posted it. I think we need to get to a point where we start taking pictures of these people. That is vandalizing, that is stealing the door frames, that is stealing the bricks. Because when you go to people's houses, would your house overnight aangebou? Waar kry jy die bakstene vandaan? Because people extend their houses. And these people are people that are community people, so we need to realize we are part of the problem. And I'm talking about all of us, because we see these things. Even the scrapyards that are buying this stuff. I mean, you can obviously also talk about that, where people steal copper and stuff, and they actually take it to the scrapyard, and the guy down the road actually buys it from them, because it is easy money. I can their own flows, So there's a lot of things happening in our communities that we are to blame for, and that we need to stand up for, And the biggest thing is now, I just want to show just the minister that video quickly, Lento. I just want to show you this video. Short clip. They actually bring this driver to a still stand, but it's not here, it's in Mandela Bay. They bring him to a still stand, but this is every day on the roads. I think people also need to tell taxi drivers, if you're going to drive like this, we're not going to drive with you. We need to be stingy with our business, The taxi drivers, that's another community on its own. And whenever they decide to toy, they will close everything. How do you find it, to communicate with these guys? Because they come across as thugs. Not all of them, but those that are keeping our people hostage.
We've actually, as soon as I was appointed, in fact, there was a strike scheduled for that Wednesday. And when I was appointed on Monday, I've reached out to the taxi industry. And we subsequently had a meeting the Tuesday, which was attended by the Mayor of Cape Town and Premier Ellen Windy, and obviously the Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis. And we formed a task team, which I chair, where we meet on a bi-weekly basis to start looking at the underlying issues that bring about some of these horrible things that you see. The taxi industry, just like you and me, like anybody else who's tried to make money, but like any industry, there are elements in the taxi industry that come from a strong gang background.
That's right.
That is a reality.
Yes.
So, there are elements in the taxi industry, like we've seen with the blocking of schools, where people wanted the contracts, where we as a government had to take them to court to get a court order to stop doing what they're doing. Those are not normal actions with a normal human being.
Right.
Wouldn't stop thousands of kids from going to school. So that is thuggish behavior.
That's right.
But there are good men and women in the taxi industry
That's also right.
that we're currently engaging with that wants to make decent money.
Yeah.
But there are behavioral issues that club could have been anywhere in Cape Town.
That's
that
right.
club could have been anywhere in the country. And the incident happened in Delft a few weeks ago, where a woman was thrown from a taxi. I mean, because allegedly she didn't pay her
Taxi fee.
taxi fare. Now, that is not how you do business.
No.
There is not, you don't go into KFC, you don't pay and they throw you out of the store.
Yeah.
You don't go into ShopRite and they don't pay, they throw you out of the store.
That's right.
That is not how you do business. Part of what we're doing in the taxi task team is to look at driver behavior and driver training. That is on our agenda because they transport a lot of passengers.
That's right.
Whether it's car chiefs, whether it's taxis, the drivers. So people need to be treated with dignity and respect. And I'm happy that the leadership in the taxi industry understands that. But that need to filter down to the drivers, to the car chiefs, to everybody working at Mitchell's Plain Terminus or Khayelitsha or Bellville. They need to understand that as well. So there are elements in the taxi industry that needs to step up, needs to improve their service dramatically to ensure that the customers that use it and pay for the service, because people pay good money to travel by taxi.
That's right.
They deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
And you're so correct, because at the end of the day, people use their last money to travel to work because they need to go work. So the traveling system or the commuting system should be up and running, and it should be trustworthy. And this is where it comes back to us. There should be stakeholders. People should be kept accountable. Minister, I just want to read out our number. If anybody want to send a question to the Minister, you can send a SMS to 078 906 0543 078 906 0543. Send us a message if you have any questions for the Minister, and I will say it with him. I just want to see, I see here's a question on WhatsApp. Vra vir hom, is traffic nog nie noodsaaklik diens nie? Hoekom is verhelpy nog diens seksuele krag teen hom? En die dame by sy huis op stres, waarom is die verkeersbeamptes terug na 8 ure vanaf 12? Beamptes gaan nou weer meer afsiekboek. Is this a question from a viewer?
Yeah, it's a question.
Okay. I don't know if this is a bit personal.
The particular issue, I guess, that the person is probably asking about the second question more than the first or the last question.
Yeah.
That matter, as far as I know, is currently before the courts. And I think the case was postponed, and we're waiting for the outcome of the case. And I wouldn't like to comment on that because the person is not here to defend themselves.
That's right. Minister, the other question that I want to ask you, the illegal road racing. That's quite big. A lot of young people do it illegally, and some people feel that there isn't any places to go and race or secure places. What is your take on this? Because in Mitchell's Plain, elke Saterdag aan, after 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, people are driving. I think the main issue is the people in the neighborhood. They can't sleep at that time of the morning, and it's also the safety of people, because some of these guys are sometimes drunk. Some of them make hectic accidents. It's recorded. It's out there. Is there anything that we can look out for? Because I know people always complain. If I look at the Daily Voice, people always send out messages. Hulle pop 'n wheelie alweer mee pad in, and you see the videos. And many of these guys they don't care. They post it on TikTok, even if they know it's illegal. I mean, if you want to catch anybody, you go on TikTok, you will catch them on there. Is there anything that people can do to clamp down on illegal racing in their communities?
Earlier on I talked about personal responsibility. And, I've got a younger brother. And if he's on a Saturday night or Friday night, I mean, let's be honest, let's talk frankly about these things.
Yes.
A lot of the kids racing there, particularly in that particular area, because I know the area, they don't stay in, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them don't stay in their own homes. They stay with their parents, they stay in somebody's yard, or they stay in the flats. So we know when they start congregating. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. Nobody teleport into Mitchell's Plain as they do in any other community in the country. They start congregating. We know it happens. We know the garages where they start. That is where it starts. And me and you must also tell our cousins or brothers.
That's right.
Hey, meneer.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what happened with the accidents. We saw that young boy from Mitchell's Plain. What happened in those accidents? It's horrible things. Nothing good comes out of it.
No.
People die. Somebody lost their legs. Nothing good comes out of these things. That is the reality of the matter. And we should just stop it.
Yeah. And you are so right, we need to talk to our cousins, because we know who the people are.
Yeah.
Ons weet wie Papa Willie daar so elke Saterdag, elke Sondag. And the thing is this, I always see people's comments on Facebook, but daar's 'n plek vir ons hier. Ons gaan nergens gaan nie. I think they can go to Killarney. It's available.
Can I just interject with the Kalani story? A buddy of mine is actually a spinner.
Yeah.
And the city opened up the spinning thing, right?
Yeah.
There's a gripe actually that that the spinners have tar. Yes, tar and not concrete.
Yeah.
The tar actually, it grips the tire, so it messes up the motor.
Yeah.
So we had a thing where the concrete it's better for the spinning.
Yeah.
So they are saying that it's deliberate. It's a bit paranoid.
Yeah.
They're saying it's deliberate. And do you think that, I mean, the city won't do that really?
No, man. I don't,
It's conspiracy theories.
I don't think the city will do it deliberately. Of course not.
But my question is, does the city listen to the people? Because I know for a fact that is an issue that they have, the community of that certain community.
Yeah.
And does the city listen to it? To complaints like that?
I personally, we've set up meeting with the spinners. In fact, we had meetings in Mitchell's Plain with the spinners. Alderman J.P. Smith was at that meeting. And I think that, and then they subsequently had more meetings. To say that they're doing deliberately to put tar or whatever product on there, I think that's a bit far-fetched. I don't think any city would do that to their residents. It's just a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a valid issue that must be taken up with a section, and I'll certainly write to my colleagues and just to, just to raise those concerns. But can I just say on the spinning issue? Because somebody told me some time ago, arrest alle mense. How many more jails must be built?
Yeah.
I mean, must every neighborhood have a jail now?
Yeah.
Because somebody misbehave. And I do think that we need to rather work on the behavior change, the personal responsibility from everyone.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to see everybody in jail.
No.
You cannot build more jails. It is not our society's function.
That's right.
So we should all just change our behavior. The guys who stop it go through that Killarney formal structures, and we can't just build another jail.
We can't. I think it was Lucky Dube that said that, back in the day they used to build more jails than schools. And you're so right. We need to build more schools.
Yeah.
But also schooling starts at home. It starts in the home, like everything we should be talking about. It comes your upbringing, where you hang out, your environment. Is your environment conducive? We need to realize, Minister, and this is always my talk to the people.
Yeah.
We have outsourced 90% of our problems to government. We only have 10%. And that is just to wake up in the morning and to go to work. We need to take back 90% of our responsibility and give 10% to the government. Because government is not there to raise our children. Government is not there to tell us to not steal and not to have integrity. It's up to us. So it comes down to us in our homes. What are we teaching? Because if we raise people right in our homes, it will be necessary for SAPs or for law enforcement or for the Minister of Mobility, whoever, to do certain things. Like, for instance, you need to look after people, grown-up people. It's not seldom and most, it's grown-ups that are stealing the bricks and it is stealing the stuff in our communities. So it comes back to maybe we need to look at how do we take hands with, it's much bigger than fixing railways and fixing stuff. It's how do we bring humanity back into society? And I think that is maybe what we should talk about. All these things is there, yes, government must do this, but how do we fix our community? And I think, Minister, us as people, we put politicians there, and we want politicians to change everything. It's not only the politician's job to raise my children, it's my job to raise my own children, Because, like you said, rightfully, die young mense wat in die ander by mekaar kom wat bepoelie. Hulle weet wie hulle is. Hulle weet is verkeerd. Maar ook niemand maak hulle stil nie. As die aunties daar gaan staan en sê, hoor jy my, hulle gaan nie van die isorasie. Then they cannot do anything to the aunties, they will move. But when do we take ownership? When do we start fixing things in our homes?
Yeah. My colleague, Minister Shana Fernandez, he's busy with a program called Courageous Conversations. And part of, I think, that courageous conversation that all of us should have is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
What are we doing as a society? What are we doing as human beings? Yeah. And how do we partner with government? Because this thing needs a whole of society approach. How do we all work together? So now we as government build the roads. How do the communities ensure that somebody don't come and steal a brick, because you can't have a police officer next to every brick on the road.
Yes.
Our job is to make sure that the roads are built. Obviously, policing, security, the trains, all the big ticket items, government must run, buses, to ensure that the whole ecosystem exists, that people can get to and from work safely. But the basic things is the community must assist government with.
That's right.
I think that's an important part of it.
Yeah. What can we expect in the next couple of months? What is there on the cards? I see there's quite a nice budget. So I look at the budget.
Listen to you.
And obviously there's things planned. What do you think is the main focus that should be implemented?
Well, I think our job is to get people to and from work safely. And part of what we're doing, for example, is with the minibus taxi industry, is to look at how do we ensure that there's stability in the minibus taxi industry. You cannot have one of our biggest mobility partners threatening to go and strike because of matters that can be resolved between us and the minibus taxi industry as government. So that is one thing that our taxi task team is tasked with, and we're progressing very well on that. And that, as I indicated, including driver behavior, because that's a big thing. If you as a commuter get up in the morning, you want to get into a taxi and get safe to work.
That's right.
You don't want to get into worry, het die man 'n permit, is die man gelicensed met die government, gaan hy nou soos hy links gedraai, rechts gedraai, kan nie man ry. So that is our responsibility as a government, to make sure that the taxi is licensed, to make sure the driver is legitimately on the road, and then the driver ultimately get you and from work safely. So that is a big thing for us, to work with the taxi industry and resolve it. There are obviously challenges. I mean, you saw the other day somebody was killed, Vrygroen, but it was not related to the taxi, but because it happened in that space, people assumed it was taxi violence. So that is one of the things that keeps me awake at night. We don't want violence in the taxi industry because it affects 70% of traveling people. We don't want our roads congested, and we obviously don't want accidents. And that is one big thing for us, to work with the taxi industry over the next few months and prevent that from happening. Part of what we're doing is we've soft launched an electronic online system where the taxis or those in the public transport space can apply for permits online. That we're doing the formal launch next week, but we had a soft launch last week, just to test the system. Is everything working? And that is making things more efficiently as a government. So that's what we're doing currently right now. We're working with our partners. A lot of people don't know. We obviously use Golden Arrow bus service to get people to and from work safely. And that is a massive, because these are our passengers.
That's right.
People traveling to work safely, these are our passengers, because they build the economy, they work, and they need to get to work as affordable as possible.
That's right.
And that's why we pay Golden Arrow to take people to and from work safely. This year we've got 1.1 billion rand in the budget that we're doing for that. So where a ticket is, for example, 25 rand, it would have been 55 rand without that subsidy, or even more without that a subsidy for the commuter. So it's not a subsidy to the company, it's a subsidy for the commuter to make sure they get back to and from work safely.
And I mean, I think with all the prices that are rising, traveling can become expensive. I mean, some people just work for traveling money, Minister, what I want to ask you, back in the day, we had a lot of people, SAPs on the train stations or on the trains. People felt secure. I know a lot of these people have been taken from this project, so I think there's now and then there's people. What do you think, what is the chances of law enforcement officers, metro police officers taking, being railway patrol? Because at the end of the day, it also guarantees the safety of our people. I mean, anytime now and then we have an issue where a Golden Arrow bus are being hijacked or people are being robbed. But I haven't read anything now recently, so it looks like they're making progress there. So what can we expect from law enforcement working hand in hand with the commuting system?
Okay. A few years ago, there was the Rail Enforcement Unit.
That's right.
That unit used to work on the trains, and that was a tripartite agreement between the City of Cape Town, the Western Cape government, and PRASA itself. And that unit actually worked very well. There were some challenges with regards to when the train stopped, because now the trains are not running, obviously. So we're now looking at how do we bring that unit back, and how can we bring it back now that trains are coming back.
Yeah.
That was a very important, like you say, because it gives people a sense of security.
That's right.
With that visible, specialized rail enforcement unit teams on the meeting. I made a commitment with our national colleagues that as soon as they bring more trains back, in fact, we want more trains back urgently, that is definitely something that we're looking to assist in funding from our budget, and we'll certainly write to our colleagues in the city to ask them to assist. And I know my colleagues in the city will have no doubt to assist in that, because that is how you make trains safe.
That's right.
Have a specialized unit dedicated to trains, because that is a mass transportation of people.
Yeah. You mentioned something about national government. How is the relationship? Because ik het opgegee, but you must not speak since with the people I gave up on the ANC. Ik het opgegee. Because you know what? To a certain extent, I try and be not biased. I can't be biased. But I don't think national government is doing enough to bring SEPs back and to get the system up and running. I think they should also contribute. What is your take on that?
Yeah. Well, I can't speak on behalf of the ANC because I'm not the ANC politician. I can speak on behalf of the party that appointed me, which is the DA. We are trying to establish a new relationship with the national government, specifically on rail.
Yeah.
Because we want trains back. And we want trains back urgently.
Yeah.
It is not acceptable that somebody wakes up in the morning from Mitchell's Plain, or from Retreat, or from Easterfield, or from anywhere on the Cape Flats, or anywhere on the northern lines, and then you get a WhatsApp or SMS, or a friend tells you, but a signal problem, or there's no trains on the central line.
Yeah.
On the central line, next to the central line, from Cape Town all the way up to Cape. Now, the Captain's Clip on Sunday afternoon, by the way. I'll talk about it now. All the way on the central line, Captain's Clip, Kailicha. There's 1 million people staying on that line. Yeah. At the different horses next to the line. Pontyville, all the way down. Heideveld, all the way up to Captain's Clip. Mitchell's Plain, Lentegeur. There's 1 million people staying on the central line.
Yeah.
But they don't have mass transportation. It's a disgrace.
It is.
Actually.
It is.
In any country, it's a disgrace. So we're establishing a new relation with our national colleagues and asking them to bring the trains back urgently. They have a new minister appointed, and the relationship has started very well. And we're trying to do whatever we can to make that happen. Yeah. So we're working with our colleagues, we're working with our partners in the city of Cape Town to make that happen as speedily. And we will certainly, from the Western Cape government, do whatever it takes to get trains back urgently. Because without trains, your economy can't function.
No.
The amount of money people spend to get to work at the moment, it is absurd.
It's ridiculous.
It should not happen. And that is a failure by national government, because we don't run the trains, but we want to do it now.
Yeah.
We want to do it. We believe we have the capacity to do it. We are the best functioning metro in the country, and as the Western Cape government as well. And we really want to get the trains back urgently. It's our utmost important that trains must run.
It's a great concern because, like you said, 1 million people, but as it train, you need to take either the bus or you need to leave early home. And also it puts more stress on the vehicle system because now more people are using cars, more people are using taxis, because now, getting into town, it is supposed to take you 20, 30 minutes. It can take you practically 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on the day, and even if there's rain as well. So that's the other thing. Minister, the other thing that I just want to bring in quickly is that, people feel that the train system now currently is operating in the line here, which is from town to Simonstown. I think Simonstown don't operate. It's just stopped by Fishoek.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people feel that this is a system that should actually work in all communities, right? But now the problem, just as you mentioned now, many people can't actually use train systems because of the mere fact that it is non-existent. Do we have a time frame? Because that is the thing that people want to know. People want to know, is there a time frame? For the people from Retreat, Levendale, it's easy to travel from this side up to Cape Town. But like you said, from Bondeville, those places to town, it is difficult. Can we look at a time frame, or are we totally reliant on national government to work with us.
Sorry, Stan, before you, can I just interject with that question? The same goes for the My City. I'm not going to politicize this, but I need to share my opinion. It feels like only a certain group is being serviced when it comes to My City, and I feel that my people from Strandfontein and those areas are, which is a nightmare for them to get to work in that, if they work in the CBD. What not that I'm saying this is a political thing, but what do your party, or what do you as personal, what do you envision for the future to make sure that everybody gets to appreciate this lovely city that we have and don't feel like second-hand citizens?
Okay. On the first one, we are dependent on national government. We are sadly dependent on national government. That's why we've been asking for the devolution of rail to the Western Cape, because we believe that we can run it efficiently. At the moment, in fact, I was in Joburg 2 weeks ago. I had a meeting with the PRASA CEO and his executive team. And before that, I had a meeting with the PRASA board chairperson, Mr. Renatla Matakane, and his CEO here in Cape Town, to see what more we can do from the Western Cape government side to help speed up the process for the Central Line to come back urgently. They have been, I have to be honest, they have been very receptive with more engagement, and I spoke to the CEO again last week on the phone. So there has been positive communication around it. But just like everybody else, I'm a big believer in timelines.
Yeah.
It's nice to say we're going to put up this beautiful building.
Yes.
I want to know what time, and who's going to do it. If it's not who, what, and when, then you're wasting time. And the presentation that they've presented to us, the timelines was at the 1st of December. Now, there's a lot of things that needs to happen for that to happen. And I certainly will hold them to it, because it's a commitment that they made to us, and we will work with them, as the Western Cape government, because we know they can't do it on their own. Get the Central Line running, because it is their asset at the moment. So we will work with them and do whatever we need to do. And I know that my colleagues in the city of Cape Town has constantly expressed that as well, that they will do whatever it needs to take to get the Central Line, obviously what's in reasonable and within the framework of the law. On regards to My City, I was in Mitchell's Plain on Sunday. The My City bus was working. So the My City bus was working. I was there. Golden Arrow bus was working as well. I think the expansion of the My City that you're referring to, when I was in the presentation on Friday, where they were done by Mako Rob Quintas, where they talk about the expansion of the Wynberg one, and perhaps I'll ask him to come and share with you the expansion plans on the My City, because he's the expert in that, and that falls under him. But I know that it's working. Like any service in this world, I'm sure he wants it to improve as well. But he'll have no doubt to come and present the My City to you guys.
Yes. And I like actually what I see in town, the bicycle riding. I think, living in Camps Bay and driving to town with your bicycle, there is routes. I think that is brilliant. But when it comes to our people, you can't cycle with the bike. We know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, we spoke about this earlier. But is there any plans, certain areas on the Cape Flats we can turn it, like Rashi Park is not that bad, maybe turn areas like that also into a bicycle-friendly zone, because at the end of the day, we also need to look at clean energy, and that's also a sign of clean energy where people cycle to work. I think fitness comes also in there. Ek ken net met my first bicycles.
Ek moet ook my bicycle kry.
But is there any, because I like what I see in town, but I would like to see it also in our community. But I also understand, also mense is skelm.
Nee man, dis nie so nie.
Hulle gaan jou bike afvat.
No man, no, don't. That is, see, we need a mindset shift.
Yeah.
We've got, in many of our communities, we have beautiful roads, man.
Yeah.
If you go down Spine Road, Mitchell's Plain, if you go down Veltevreden in Mitchell's Plain, if you go down a lot of our roads, including in Grassy Park, we have some beautiful roads in our communities. How are we utilizing it? How do you go from Watergate Shopping Centre to Promenade, from Promenade to anywhere in Mitchell's Plain to Westridge? We have beautiful roads in our communities. Nothing stops us from creating a bicycle cycling culture
That's right.
in our community. Nothing stops you, me, or anyone. We used to have cycle in the plane.
Yes,
We used to have
yes.
cycle in the plane.
I remember.
And I saw 3 weeks ago, Councillor Ashley Potts actually sent a motivational support to an organization that wants to bring them back. So there's nothing stopping us from doing. We don't have to wait for any government to do it. We can do it because we stay in those places.
That's right.
Like the guys do in town or like they do in Tableview. In fact, I was invited to Kaya Cycles.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
a few weeks ago, and including in Langa, and I took a walking tour with Langa. There's a guy, Ricky. I'm sure you know Ricky. Ricky in Tafelsig. Ricky from
The Rotary Camp.
No. Ricky offers free walking tours.
Yes. Yes.
At the
yes, I know
back
Ricky.
in Portlands. So there's nothing stopping us from doing these things. But we have to do it because we stay in those communities. We know the areas. We don't have to wait for somebody else to come and do it. So yes, I agree with you. We need to promote it more. Cycling as a government in the township. We need to encourage people to open more bicycle shops because then you can have mechanics. You can create a whole economy out of it. If you have more bicycles, you can create drivers, mechanics. But guys that can come and fix your tires. All those a nice ecosystem around it. But we have to take the initiative. We can market it certainly as government, and we can help you advertise it and see how we can help you grow it. But nothing stops anyone from opening a bicycle shop. There are bicycle shops. Just how do we advertise and how do we make sure that we use it more effectively?
Yeah, and I think it's true what you're saying. If we create a culture, it will also add to our traveling tourism. Because people will definitely come to our communities if they have something here. Let's say in Grassy Park, people are going to come. They want to try it out. So like you say, it adds to our economy. But we need to start it. And I think that is the thing, Minister, is that many of these things we want it in our community, but you also need to take ownership for it. It comes down to me and to Nantel and to the others to take ownership of it. Let me just read why was okay. Do you want to call us? Okay. Good evening.
Hi there. Am I speaking with the MEC?
You are.
Just put on your headphones.
You're speaking to Stanley. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Uncle Stan. How are you doing tonight? Good show, man.
I'm good yourself.
I'm great. I've got a question for the MEC.
Yes, go for it. Go for the question.
Okay, cool. Look, I'm very interested in your department because mobility is, as you say, it's a connector of people. And,
just hold on, they can't seem to hear you. Just hold on.
Okay.
I think call it rather just leave us a message because the line is I can hear you, but for some reason the two of them can't hear you.
Okay, cool.
Is that cool?
Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks, man.
That's cool.
Thank you. Okay. So it comes down to taking ownership. Minister, what can last questions? What do you think? What is the contribution that we as people need to make in order for your project to be successful? No, not your project, but our project to be successful.
Our project as a government is to obviously be the best run government and to provide services, to be a caring government. The way we can do what people expect us to do is one, hold us accountable. That's very important. And every government must be held accountable. Two is be our partners in this, be our stakeholders in this. So when a government, for example, builds a road, and we're going to come down to the example because you talk about the people carrying bricks away. Yeah. So when the government builds a road in your community, and the road is built on time, on budget, there's an expectation from the government that people in that area will take care of it. So when the councillor builds a park in your area, and there's some beautiful parks in some of our communities, there are those that need further upgrading, but overall generally there's some decent ones. So then you need to keep track on it. There's some beautiful swimming pools in our community. So when government build the new swimming pools, we need to take care of the swimming pools in our community. So that is where our community needs to be a partner in this. And that goes also with personal behavior. When the swimming pools opened post-COVID, I went to advertise and said, please come, the swimming pool is open, it's nice and hot. And then some people try to bring their cooler bags in. Now, Come on, man. There's children swimming in the pool.
That's
It
right.
is your children. If a beer bottle falls in the pool, it's going to break, it's going to
Yeah.
cut your child.
Yeah.
So those are basic things. So you have to employ security guards now to check people's cooler bags and make sure they don't, those, sit by the house and, enjoy your stuff at home.
Yeah.
But don't bring it to the swimming pool where everybody's children, governments, the government has provided the pool, clean the pool, maintain the pool. So now come and enjoy the facility nicely.
Yeah.
So that's where the personal responsibility comes in. Our job is to build it. Your job is to enjoy it and enjoy it responsibly.
Yeah, and I just want to come back to. Okay, and I just want to come back quickly to what you say. A lot of people at the end of the year, then we have law enforcement out there, and they know they're not supposed to drive around with like alcohol. Alcohol, like you mentioned, we can drink it at home. We're not saying they mustn't drink, but I think we are more responsible when we're indoors. We're more responsible if we make use of Uber. Many people's lives are taken because of alcohol. Yes, there's nothing wrong. You can drink. We're not saying people can't drink, but we need to drink responsibility. So my question is, how do we get people to realize the fact that, like you mentioned, you have children. That's a bad example, drinking in front of children. You're setting an example, it's fine to actually drink. So it comes back to the behavior. But how do we put things in place, when it comes to the end of the year? Because there's a hele plek is vol beer bottles, lang biere wat hulle, and it's just that we don't have that sense of pride anymore. Nou kry ons meer week vir die mense wat moet skoonmaak, and somebody can get hurt, So how do we emphasize on this, Minister?
Can I just first say, you're talking about the road deaths. We just came from a busy Easter weekend period. And I first of all want to thank all the traffic officers because they work 24/7 of the long Easter weekend to ensure our roads are safe.
Yeah.
So I want to thank all our traffic officers in the Western Cape. Well done, guys. But too many people have died. We have a great reduction in the roads, 30% reduction of last year. But there are 26 people that have lost their lives. They've lost their lives because a lot was irresponsible behavior. Speeding, driving while you talk on your cell phone, pedestrians walking in the road. It was the drinking and people crossing illegally. Those are, no matter how many operations you have, and I must again thank my traffic, we have a lot of visible operations, but those are, I think, personal responsibility measured. And it links in greatly into your second question, that we all have to take personal responsibility. No matter what you do as a government, we cannot have a police officer in everybody's house.
That's right.
You can't have a social worker in everybody's house. So when government provides any service, it is your responsibility to enjoy it, but obviously we must provide a great service. You can't have rude nurses, rude police officers, rude traffic cops. That certainly goes without saying.
That's right.
So I'm saying when those things are provided, that the responsibility of you is to not abuse that service.
That's right.
And I think that is how you solve the problem. Bring personal responsibilities in our community, the courageous conversations, as I said, that we must take personal responsibility. A lot of people, there's good people out there. They're hard-working men and women who wake up every morning to make this country function and function very well.
That's right.
Where things do work. But there's a small minority who are destructive, criminals, thugs, gangsters, rude people who don't want us to enjoy what all of us generally want to enjoy. And there's a decent life.
Yeah. It comes back to the majority taking ownership.
The majority take ownership. We are far more than them.
That's right.
We are way far more than those destructive ones. Same with we talked about the taxi industry. There are much more decent taxi drivers out there than the small minority who goes viral on TikTok or Facebook. And then we need to root the small minority out because they give the bad ones. In our communities, where the young boys with cars, there's a lot of good young boys who spend weekends with their families, who want the best for their families. But that 50 or the 100 who stay on Friday night, pop a wheelie, go over 200 kilometers an hour. Those are the small minority, but they are a menace in our community. And those are the ones we need to encourage them to use government facilities or city managed facilities or partner facilities where they can do so in the safety. in the safety, not only for them, but for their future children.
That's right.
Because if these young boys, they die young, there's a generation lost.
Yeah, it's true. And like you mentioned earlier on, there's one boy, the accident that we all witnessed, which was plain, he lost both his legs. Top of the range car. And I'm sure if he can go back, if he can turn back the clock now, he would go back to that day and said, I'm not going to go race. And there's many of people that dies like that.
There are many people like that who say, if I just didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. I just want to play something quickly, yeah?
There's one voice. I think just to put on your phones and hopefully we'll understand.
Hi, MEC. I hope you're good. Look, I think you've got a very important portfolio because people are very dependent on you to connect them to opportunities, their work, their places of worship. And, thanks for coming on to do like a long-form independent news show like Uncle Stan has. So I have two questions that you can answer for me. Do you think that the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winnie, takes your department seriously? Because out of the whole provincial budget of 242 billion, your department gets just under 3 billion. So really, that's works out to about what? About 1% or something. And then, I know that you don't have enough money or resources to really change the dynamics of spatial apartheid in South Africa. People in colored and black communities have to spend a lot of their money on traveling, and they spend a lot of hours traveling to and from work. So what are you going to do to tackle the spatial apartheid? Then this is a last thing. It falls under your ambit to give licenses to Uber drivers. I see the Uber drivers get their cars impounded for 7,500 Rand in the first instance, 15,000 Rand in the third instance, and then their cars are, shall we put it, expropriated without compensation by the city of Cape Town. Is it your department's within the ambit to give the Uber drivers licenses, and why is this taking so long? Thanks, I'll listen in.
Hey, by questions.
Okay, let me start with the last question. The moratorium of the Uber license was lifted, so that process is undergoes, so they can apply.
Okay.
And I know I checked the other day, I think 1,900 applications was in, obviously going through the process, and that will be subsequently be approved. But I think it was done just to make sure that there's alignment between what's happening in the industry and generally across. But that has been done, so that has been lifted, so you can apply.
Yeah.
The first question, it's Africa got the fourth biggest budget in the province. So I think his numbers are right, but I think he's done the first number over 3 years, and then the second number, which gave him the final number. Yeah. So I've got the fourth biggest budget in the province, which is 2.9 billion Rand, and that's the answer to the question. Yeah. Okay. And then the second question is actually links to why we need to get rail functioning urgently. Yeah. People stay far from home. And the city of Cape Town, I know they've got some big tenders out about social housing and those things currently busy. And I'm sure if you write to our colleagues, they can talk more about that because that is, I know about it, but I'm not expert in the field. So rather let them speak to it. But I do think that when we get the trains running, that will deal with, it's not normal for somebody to take 2 hours to get to work. No, and they're 15 kilometers from town. Yes. Should be 25-minute ride or 20-minute ride. Yes. Now it's 2 hours. Why is it? The trains are not running. Minister, I remember when I still lived in Grassy Park and I used to travel with the train, would take the taxi from Grassy Park to Wynberg. And I'm talking about in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then I would take the train from Wynberg to town. It was the most memorable days of my life because everything was functioning. People knew how to behave. The trains were always on time. There wasn't that issue. So I think that is what the vision should be. But, it's going to take time. But also then it's going to hang from us as well. How are we going to contribute? Because I think that is what people want back. Us that can remember how the train systems used to operate. I think I read an article where it said that almost 83% of Metro Rail's people, clients, left the business. So 83% of those people are now driving with Uber or their own cars or driving with taxis. So it means only 17% of those people that is drive. So it's a small, So Metro Rail are also losing money,
And for that reason, they can't maintain their buildings. If you look at it, they can't also employ people. I mean, back in the day when you used to work, if you applied for a job at Metro Rail and you got the job, it was one of the best companies to work for. But now it's not anymore. But I think that is the dream for us, to go back to actually better the previous system into a system where, like you say, we can take from here to town in 15, 20 minutes.
That is the mobility ecosystem we want to create. And I always tell the story. I say, the same way I used to stay with my girlfriend at the time in Steenberg. So I took a taxi from Steenberg to the retreat station. Retreat station, either the Golden Arrow bus station or the I think 7 minutes past 5 express train, or 2 minutes past 7 express train to town. So that ecosystem, the mobility ecosystem exists. I walk, got a taxi to the station, bus or train. So that ecosystem, with the collapse of the Central Line, as an example, has collapsed. The trains is dysfunctional, the Central Line. I mean, we have to say it how it is.
That's right.
Otherwise, you can't fix it. So what we need to do now is to bring that back so that the ecosystem can exist. So the trains, the taxis, bicycles, walking, that ecosystem can exist. And that's how we get more cars off the road. And to bring to your first point you made, if you have 100 Rand every month, you suddenly lose 70 Rand. You now have 30 Rand left.
That's right.
So now Prasa is making 30 Rand a month.
That's right.
The same overheads they had when they had.
That's right.
Right. You see how the system goes backwards and backwards. That's why I know that they know trains must come back urgently as well, just like we, and that's our role. To work with them in getting back trains urgently. Because without having the Central Line and all other trains in the Western Cape working functional, we can't grow the economy and we can't grow it faster.
And we can't get people home. You know, we already have the issue with load shedding.
True.
We need to make it easy for our people, for the aunties and uncles on the Cape Flats. You know, even other areas of Cape Town as well that are trying to make a living for themselves. I mean, life is not that cheap anymore. And I mean, what's going to help us is if the train system, if the commuter system is up and running, it will make life so much easier for all of us. And I think that is what we need to, as a community, need to stand with and support this initiative, get the system back up ASAP.
We have to. I have now 4 hours of load shedding, 4.5 hours. So 8 o'clock until 10:30, until 12:30. Tomorrow, I think from 6 o'clock until 8. So I go home in the dark, I wake up in the dark.
But minister, all the other ministers have...
Nini kapi. Ons het die luxuries. That's only for the national government ministers, not for us. We do things differently in the Cape. We care about people on the ground.
It's true. And I think there's also cost that you are trying to save, because
you can't
everything has a budget.
Of course, you can't spend millions of rand on government people. I certainly feel uncomfortable. Now I can feel the pain everybody's feeling. I feel uncomfortable. Somebody spend millions of rands on electricity on my house. Well, not 70% of people can't get to work properly. Doesn't make sense. So I'm not doing it. Why should I want somebody else to do it? So if they do it in national government, let them do it their way.
They will. I always say karma is a bitch and karma will come back. But I want to ask you to just give some words of encouragement to people. I think it's a very tough job for you. This is not easy. I mean, you have to fix something that has been broken for a while. But I have faith that this can work. I have faith that this can, come back to life. This commuter system. Any words of encouragement, and also just keeping people, giving them hope for those people in Bondeville, those places that are looking to get back onto the train system.
We have there's so much wrong in our communities. I mean, we have crime, we have load shedding, we have the Central Line not working. But we are a very resilient community. We are a very resilient country. And I know we can overcome these challenges. I mean, we are working hard with our colleagues in national government, and that's why we're putting in every effort. I mean, we were in Joburg last week. I was supposed to go to Joburg again on Thursday to work with our colleagues. The premier mandated me, what do you want people to know you as? And I said, I want the guy who brought the trains back. That's what the one item. I want to be known as the guy who brought the trains back.
Awesome.
That is, and he asked me, what is your worst biggest worry. What keeps me up at night is the taxi violence.
Yeah.
We don't want taxi violence.
Yeah.
So my message is to people to have hope. We are working very hard to get the trains back, because that's how we're going to build the economy.
Yeah.
So everything we do at the moment is to try and get the trains back running, but running back urgently. My message to the taxi drivers, if you're out there listening, please drive safety. Remember, these are your customers.
That's right.
These are your customers. Without people waking up every single morning and trying to get to work, your business don't exist.
That's right.
To our thousands of hardworking taxi drivers out there, thank you very much for waking up 3 o'clock in the morning, getting to the ranks it's not an easy thing to do.
It's true.
Get to the rank at 3 o'clock in the morning to be the first taxi driver.
Yeah.
There are hardworking men and women out there who are trying to make ends meet. There's a small minority who's trying to be destructive, like in any other industry, I guess, but there's a hardworking people out there trying to make it work. And I know, and to everyone working in the Western Cape government, thank you for trying your best. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
It's tough. We have people that are rightfully angry, load shedding, high crime rates, and to our people out there, thank you for keeping us going. The government didn't just teleport in. People elected, and they rightfully expect more of us. And I appreciate when people criticize you.
Yeah.
I appreciate when people say, hey, this is not what you're doing, because that's how we get better.
That's right.
That's how we become better, because people tell us, hey, Ricardo, you must do more. And that's the only way we can do so.
Yes.
So thank you to everybody. Appreciate you.
Minister, the thing is this, when people come back to you with constructive criticism, it adds value.
Yeah.
But you get people that are just plain rude. And I think that is what many... I won't be a politician. Want
Yeah.
ek gaat hulle vertel,
No, but that's not what I signed up for this job.
Yeah,
so, I say that the day people stop talking to you, that's the day you might get worried.
That's right.
That's the day coup d'etats and all these other funny business starts. That's the day I'll get worried, when people stop swearing at me.
Yeah.
The day they still swear and talk to you, you can still change things.
Yeah. You can still persuade their minds.
You can still persuade them. But the day they shut the door in your face, there's no way back.
Minister, thank you so much. It's always nice chatting with you. I don't know, somehow I feel optimistic about this. Ek het 'n kalmte oor my. Ek weet nie of dit die spirit is nie, maar ek het 'n kalmte oor my. And I really want to see this work for our people.
Yeah.
Really,
It's going to.
there's thousands, millions of people on the Cape Flats that needs the system to work. So all the best, sir. And I will have you back soon again.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Minister Ricardo Mackenzie, Minister of Mobility. Julle het nou gehoor, is hy selfoons nie. Die minister is in charge van die commuter systems en hy goede. So guys, please, let's work together. Let's change the narrative. Let's change how we do things. Almal van ons is stakeholders. And we can't just expect government to fix certain things. We need to come and say, okay, we agree and we will stop the vandalizing. And we will also start pimping these people. I always say it, yes, you can send the information to me and I will send it and then I will look like a pimper. But at least we know we're fixing things, because at the end of the day, the railway system were working perfectly a couple of years back. And suddenly, because of destruction and stuff, the railway system broke. So our vision together should be, we must fix it together and we must be kept accountable together. Thank you so much for listening to me tonight, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.